I mean, we don't need to, because we just talk about was it Monday's game?
Yeah.
We could just crack into Monday's game otherwise. Oh, what's my computer doing? Right.
Just where Ben switches off.
No. Ben's going to give us an honest assessment of the Horsham game, aren't you, Ben?
I can give you an honest assessment. I've had better days and I've had worse, to be fair.
Well, you've had worse than that.
No. Slap him, Ben. Don't let him get his. I know he's Daddy Stone. What?
He's not a striker, is he? Never has been.
First of all, introductions quickly. Thank you for the fan round table. We've got the lovely big agent Malk here. Ian Grant, Georgie plays the drum. Johnny Wheels, Johnny get your teeth in, Wheels, and of course the mighty Ben Pope. We're waiting for Super Gary Elphick. Apparently Ben's saying his timekeeping's not very good, so we'd have to obviously ask that to Gary. First of all, let's talk about Horsham. Should we go straight to Ben, or shall we go round the room? So what?
Straight to Ben.
Straight to Ben. Okay, right. So Ben, a cracking effort from yourself. No. You created a lot of chances. There was probably one that I'd say, I'm sure you're putting it away. That one you just put wide. So that one at the end.
Wide either, to be fair. It was a shocking attempt, but I don't know. It happens sometimes in the moment. All happens quick. That was a gutter. That was a gutter.
But the goalie pulled off a couple of, at least 2-3 excellent saves. He was on form. To keep us out, because I thought we were fairly impressive. I think we didn't really give Horsham too much of a sniff until
I think they had a couple of early shots went over, didn't they, in the first half?
Yeah, that's over. Like the penalty.
Apart from that, I thought we controlled the game from front to back. Absolutely controlled the game, and to not come away with 3 points is really disappointing, to be honest. Yeah, it was frustrating, but at the same time, we were at their place, and they'd been on a run of form. I think had they won the last 4? I could be wrong here. I've been doing it, yeah.
And we more than matched them. So it would have been an absolute crime if they'd have scored that penalty.
Yeah, that's my saving grace, to be fair.
Well, it was a nice little reaction after the penalty was taken as well, just to remind them that they missed it. It was very good. I like that.
Shock horror who were at the front of it as well.
And, hang on, Super Gary's here. All right, Gary?
Far from it. Yeah, all good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, well, yeah. I've had better months, mate. We're talking Horsham, and Ben was just saying that he may have put a couple wide on Monday. But what was your thoughts going through the game? Obviously, they'd had a good run of form at Horsham. I think we bossed them. I mean, what do you think about it?
I felt we dominated for large periods of the game, especially sort of first half. We had the better chances of the two teams. I felt we caused them problems all afternoon, and it was just like for me, Ben, probably one of the man of the matches. He didn't stop running, and the only thing that was missing was a goal. There was a couple of other standout performers. Jake Elliott, Alex Breffo, once again was immense. Sort of getting back to where he was. Stoney's getting back to where he was. Everything's looking in shape and order for what we've got to do this month. There's a big run of games now. I think it's 8 games coming up this January. So, unfortunately, I don't think the Tom Chalmers injury is looking that great at the moment. That looks to be maybe a little bit of an issue there. So, we're going to have to box clever. We're going to have to use the whole squad at times, and maybe also dip into maybe bringing a body or two in, because I think the momentum's there now. And too good of an opportunity for us as a football club to let that pass us by. I think we've got to strike while the iron's hot. So hopefully we can bring in some personnel to help us out as a squad. But I just couldn't be any more prouder of our lads. Like, once again, what a fantastic festive period. Train hard. That's why we do our homework. That's why we've got the points return that we have got. It's preparation from all the lads and from the staff, and that's why everything's looking positive so far. But nothing's won now. We need to keep this going, and it's a massive couple of months coming up for us.
Chaps, anyone want to ask any questions or talk about Horsham?
No, I thought it was one of the best performances of the season. Really, when you think Horsham have been one of the top teams in that division for the last few seasons, and we kind of dominated the match against them. I thought, looking at it, that it was Ben back to his best. Really thought it was an impressive display. And your shots, Ben, were the only shots that the keeper didn't get near. No, but what I really think it was a fantastic performance back. No sign of the injury problems and just a really competitive, aggressive, tenacious performance. So well done, Ben. Just missing the goal, but that's all right.
Yeah. Like you say, to be fair, like injuries and illness wise, I think I looked at it actually, and the first 90 minutes I've completed, probably maybe even all season nearly. Fitness for me is a big thing, which is only probably just really I'd say fully fit at the moment. Otherwise, I'd say I've struggled with that definitely this season. So it's nice to feel that way, and then hopefully giving out the performances like that week in, week out.
Yeah,
you very much look back to your best against Lewis as well, I thought, really. And I'm guessing you're not going to get any Christmas cards from the Lewis defenders.
Well, considering probably around the corner, unless they live in London like the whole of Lewis does, then I don't think I will be.
George, anything?
Yeah, great day out. Just funny what the Horsham match report said about Ben, about him having deceptive pace, which is one of my favourite veiled compliments, and him being surprisingly quick. I don't think they could understand how quick Ben was, and he couldn't get over it. And the reaction after the penalty was brilliant. Just reminded me of the reaction with Arsenal and Ruud van Nistelrooy when he hit the bar that time, and Martin Keown jumped on his back. It was just wonderful to see. I don't know what Louis said to their player though to rattle him that much, but it was good to see everyone on a wind up at the end of the game.
Louis wouldn't have said too much.
No.
I think the culprit is Sam Hassler.
Never.
Oh yeah, 100%. Lord Farquhar, he was straight in there.
Oh dear. That's good. That you've told me that now. Thank you. A Lord Farquhar poster's coming your way.
He'll be buzzing with that.
Yeah. Marks, anything? You were there, obviously, sir.
Yeah, I just from an oldies point of view, it was just a proper game of football. I think he had everything in it. I think the players enjoyed it. It was feisty at times, and proper game of football. There's been a couple of them that we've seen this season. Folkestone away was one of them, and I think Monday was another one. It was a good 0-0 draw. I enjoyed the game, I must admit.
Do you want to use mine? What is it? You want to go on the phone or something?
Get this all
You're
the time.
listening to me. Not wasting my time here.
He's got a bed.
Fuck off, get out.
What do you want to do?
Professional podcast, this.
For Ben and Gary's
Sorry. Go on, sorry.
Ben and Gary, we have this every week when we have the podcast.
Yeah.
He has to deal with his 400 children. He's running a nursery at the same time.
Oh, don't, mate. Oh, no.
I thought you was doing a Gerwin Price here.
Don't. But there's only two of them in the house at the moment, so
Yeah, invariably he has to run off to deal with a diarrhea attack or something like that. But it's usually his own.
Thank you, John. Right then, so Horsham. That's Horsham. Now, what I got you boys on for, you wonderful Gary and Ben, and obviously everyone else, was we're going to kind of do a review of 22. First of all, Gary, Ben, so it's the beginning of the year. What was? Can you take yourself back there? Can you remember what your targets were for January? And I mean, the fixtures are up there. I don't know if you can see them or not.
Yeah.
Because obviously the squad was a lot different. You know, I think at the time we kind of had issues with the winger, like we were swapping wingers in and out a little bit, as I remember. But I could be wrong there. What was your kind of? We'll go. I suppose I'll go to Gary first, but what was your kind of targets for January? Did you just expect that we're just winning all these games and
not to have any cabbages thrown at me really at the first two games? So January was brilliant because we'd come through the period absolutely flying, and we was winning games horrible as well. I remember Whitehawk away, which there was nothing between the two teams on the day, but we managed to get a win. Then we got a great draw at VCD away. There was a few people down with, because this was a COVID period as well. So we had loads of staff and players going down with COVID. So they were huge wins. And I thought they were wins that showed we had the character to go on and win the league. We had the bottle, we had the psychology just absolutely right. So it was almost sort of, I almost call it sort of autopilot month, where it was just keeping it the same. The training ground was the best I've ever known it. The banter, the fit, the detail we was going through, and still to this day, it's just the best group of lads I've ever been involved with in my whole career. They're just absolute friends on and off the pitch, but they'll be honest with each other. I like to think that, honest with them, I don't think I've ever bullshitted anyone. I tell them how it is, and I'd rather someone sort of say, I always think like back on it, and when all is said and done, and they say, I played under Gary Elphick, that, you know, they might not say I'm a good coach, good manager, whatever, but they would say I'm an honest fella that sort of said exactly how I felt and didn't bullshit a good manager. So on the year, I thought January was an autopilot month for me, and it just went on and it snowballed into bigger and better things. It was a fantastic squad. There was a couple of key decisions along the way. I remember getting abuse for letting Lamray Assis go. I think I was right. Cisse, we had to deal with him because
didn't we, Gary? Did we not? When it we played Lancing, and as it Diallo was playing for them, wasn't he? And then did we get him in as well, didn't
we? We got him in. They're little vehicles. I call them vehicles to carry on, and when we need a few players here and there and bodies. But when you look at it, I think as I've released, I think I've got right. Maybe in the first instance, I should never have brought them in, but that's another day to talk about. That's another opinion. But Cisse actually was a strange one, because I remember Ashford away, he was absolutely phenomenal. The one I actually, out of them all, that I thought actually brings something to the table, but then I actually think I've released him at the right time as well. I remember sitting born away when he played up with some of there's some antics off the pitch, and I just thought, you know,
don't need it.
The club comes first. That, as I always say to players, that badge that you're wearing on your shirt, that always is at the top of everything we do. So bang on. Then it was just carnival after that, wasn't it? Carnival atmosphere every week. It was brilliant.
Oh, well, we're talking about January for now, but just quickly, but Ben, I see you've got a couple of goals there. You've got to remember most of your goals. A couple of goals against Faversham. Anything you want to say? Just easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Like Gary said, we're just in autopilot. I mean, the dressing, we were just flying. We just turn up anywhere and just think, we'll win. Like, by all means necessary as well. Like, we'd kick lumps out of people if we had to do it the dirty way, or we'd bop people and play pretty sexy football. I think it was just, everything was just perfect at the time. So, and that was, I think, is it Burgess Hill there we lose to, didn't we, in the league? That was 11 wins on a row or something, was it?
It was
flying. We were flying, and at that, I think
some big wins as well, isn't there? Like, you look at Whitstable away when Kenny scored.
Well, I was going to say that was my highlight of the month. Whitstable, they were rubbish, weren't they? Really, but they managed to keep the game 0-0. We weren't at our best, and just to see Kenny coming on and scoring, the joy in it. It was beautiful.
No, the pitch was a pudding, wasn't it? It was hard to even start on your feet that day. And I thought, this is a potential. I'd actually say that was one of the moments where I looked around at our dugout and thought, this is ours this year.
Fellas, you want to talk anything about January? George, John, Malk, Ian, any specific highlight of any memory of January?
The Whitstable win, wasn't it? It was just massive, and we just started win games where we might not have previously, sort of a year before, and get late winners, last minute winners. And as we'll see as we go through the year, it seems to happen more and more, and just win those really tight games. Perhaps as what Gary was saying about, the unit being really tight, sort of brings that. But it's great for the fans as well, and a late winner sometimes is better than a 4 or 5-0.
And I was just going to say, Ashford away was the days ever. Like,
Jan as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was I think it was 29th for Jan, but we like what Ben will tell you, we worked all week on a game plan for that, and sometimes you get it wrong as a management group and a playing group, but we got it off to an absolute tee that day. And I even remember coming in at half time when they equalised, which wasn't deserved really, because we was much the better team, and we kept our cool, and we're going to have to overcome these obstacles. And second half was absolutely fantastic. And there's always felt against Ashford, we always got too emotional in the dressing room. I mean, that was not, fans, you go off your rocker, but always felt we made a massive thing about Ashford dressing room. And I just remember telling the boys, I just said, this is another game. They've got strengths and weaknesses, and it's about how we overcome it. And that was my favourite ever. Well, I'd have to say it's my best day of management so far, even, when winning the league and that. But that was where you could look back and think, blimey, now we smashed out the ballpark that day.
And that was one of my favourite away days as well. On the terraces, it was just as entertaining. There was just as much to look at. If it wasn't Gary Isted in a yellow mankini, arguing with the stewards, trying to sound sensible, and then that second half, the winner, and then Popey coming over and leading the Ashford Get Battered anthem. That it was just a great day out.
I think that time as well when we beat them was like points wise, we were that was the moment we sort of all knew that was when we'd win it. That was it was a good day, very good day.
All right, and no one else on January? No. Be quick. So I don't know, you could see that, but once we move on to February, what we got? We got
Sitting Bull.
Sitting Bull. Obviously, it's a highlight for you, George, because they tried to assault you, didn't they? Well, they did assault you, didn't they? Really?
Only one punch around the back of the head, but it is what it is. We that was a great day out, and obviously right up against it, down to 10 men for ages, quite a long time, weren't we? And right at the last.
1-0 down, weren't we?
Yeah, we were under it really. Against a bunch of fans that you just really want to beat. So, that would be a pick for me, Sitting Bull away.
John, say the song you started to the Sitting Bull fans.
I think it was more fans than Chiefs, wasn't it? There were a load of toothless fans behind the goal that I think they would have bitten George if they could have. But,
Gary, Ben, any of your thoughts on February? Obviously, that's
I was out for Sitting Bull. Don't know if I was suspended or injured, and then Chichester as well. I think I was still ill or struggling. So bit of a write off. But what's that? Win, is it? So
nice.
You were injured, I think. Yeah, you were injured, Sitting Bull.
Yeah.
Just going to say, like, really, if you look at it, there's sort of one standout game per month, isn't there? And Sitting Bull is definitely the standout game in that month.
I think Sitting Bull was a game for me. I think that going back a little bit on January, I think everybody else was winning around us and that type of thing as well. And it was always a little bit, every game it was, I'm not sure. But I think to go to Sitting Bull away, and it was lashing down, wasn't it? It wasn't a great day. And it's never nice to go to Sitting Bull at any time. And I think going 1-0 down and then down to 10 men and coming back and winning then, I think it was after that we actually, certainly I did. I thought, this year's one, it's that was a game I think that turned it. That if you can go there and do that with 10 men, then you deserve it. And I think the other teams looked at it then and thought, well, we can't catch these now.
It was also the most surreal moment of the season to drive into the game, and we see this bloke sort of recognise him waiting for a bus, and it was Cisse. So and we picked him up, and he's like, "Do you want a lift?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think I do." It's all like quite quiet and polite, isn't it? And he got in the back of our Fiat Panda, squeezed in, thought he might have a knee injury by the time we got to the ground, and sort of wished him on his way when we got to the ground. Last time I give a player a lift. I
never knew that.
If any of the players are like thumbing for a lift and I drive past them, there's a reason why. It's Cisse's fault. Yeah, strange one that.
The thing is, he storms off as well, doesn't he? He does his bit and in the dressing room and storms off, and he's got to get all the way back to London, and he didn't have a clue how to get there.
No, he was looking at the bus timetable.
At some bus stop, he didn't have a clue where he was going, and Sitting Bull's out in the middle of nowhere. It's not the greatest place to get to London from.
I
Is
never
he
knew
still
you done
there?
Uber driving, George.
I was driving there, and my good lady was driving home, so it was a decent deal for on that day.
Right then, okay. Moving on to March. I think Ben might like the 5th of March, a tidy hat-trick against Corinthian, who we
deserve that as well. The bastards at their place.
Oh, that was the most depressing game ever. That one.
Yeah, that was a bad day. It was a bad day, and they were winding me up. So that hat trick.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Ponytail FC, weren't they? Had a few ponytails.
Yeah. Yeah. Best play actor I've ever seen. That was Jesus Christ.
Yeah, do you remember him? I think his dad was in the crowd or something, and he even said that he was diving around everywhere. I'm sure.
Well,
John, did you?
It was embarrassing. The ref was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, that home game was a nice bit of sweet revenge.
Yeah, they went down. Did they go down? I'm sure Corinthian went down, didn't they?
No, they're going to go down this season, hopefully.
Oh, okay. That's the most depressed I've ever seen George was after that Corinthian away game, wasn't it, George?
I was quite annoyed. I was a bit annoyed, Chris.
Kicking the drum, kicking it everywhere.
I was just throwing stuff around. Yeah, it was just a bad day out. There was no decent beer anywhere, no food. So
yeah.
Anyway, but we're
terrible.
3-0 win. That's what we like, and then we beat Cray Valley.
Which is probably that's your standout game of that month, isn't it? Cray Valley away, to go there and get a win there. Because even this year we've experienced a negative result there this year. So I think it's always a difficult place to go, slightly slow pitch, and yeah, he was good that day as well.
Yeah. Anyone else with thoughts on March? Anyone?
Yeah, that was 1-0 down at being 1-0 down at half time at Cray Valley, and then Hasler sort of dominated the second half for us, and massive win. That big performance from him.
Dicko rising at the far post and nod that one in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I launched someone's back garden. God knows where it ended up.
Like, it was Craig Valley, obviously not a good side, and you just think they got no fans though. Like for us turning up, only 280 there, and I'm sure we bought a few that day, didn't we? I remember Dicko jumping at us.
Yeah, we'd have been 150 of that at least. So
yeah,
not more. Nice club though. So.
What about Three Bridges? Was that Finn's overhead kick?
No. That was
earlier, wasn't it?
Oh no, that was
Mark.
That wasn't it?
That's when he got his new contract, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
East Grinstead away was fantastic. That was probably most fun away day that, and celebrating in the clubhouse afterwards, because I think Ashford drew in the last minute, and
it'd become bloody boring though.
Oh, but once we won, yeah.
In about how long was it? 15 minutes, 3-0. It was a shocker after that for us. It's just like bloody whistle.
Yeah, their keeper had a tag on, didn't he? He had a tag on. We were singing "We're from Hastings, we know that's a tag," and he loved it. He did a Jaeger bomb with us after the game. Top bloke. Yeah, good fun.
When you look at that, even when you look at the running, like how many clean sheets we've kept, even there, it's just and that's the most pleasing thing about this year as well. Is still solid. We don't. I think Hornchurch is the biggest defeat we've had so far. We've been beaten more than one goal other than that game. So that just shows you the unity in the group and the togetherness. So yeah, it was good. And then obviously you had the Haywards Heath game, which was a bit of a shocker, because obviously everyone was wanting to win that day with the biggest crowd ever and blah de blah. So I remember that actually was a nightmare for a manager to manage that situation, because it was. Obviously, the club have got to promote what they've got to promote and get the crowd in, which we deserve. But just to try and keep everyone sort of nice and steady and calm was I actually found that quite a tough week actually as a manager.
They weren't too bad a side then either, and they did just come and part the butt. Horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah, I wouldn't want to relive that day again, really.
They didn't play along at all, did they? Really, with the occasion. It's funny enough, because I must have been at loads of these games, but the only one I can actually remember anything about is the 0-0 draw. So I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, there was a right old battle that game. It really was.
I remember TC being really nervous, like he was just not himself that day in that game. I'm sure it was him.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Yeah. Because I remember that was part of my speech to the players afterwards. Which has happened actually, because I said to them that they would stand them in good stead, because wondering about that before the Lewis game on Boxing Day, where if any of the youngsters would succumb to nerves or anything like that. But obviously, they've cracked on from there, and they've developed both mentally and physically, and we performed the way we did that day. So it all stands us in good stead. So it's all lessons along the way.
Was it difficult to manage as well when you dominate a league, which we had kind of done for 3 seasons, and then you win it almost too early? How do you get the players' minds in the right place for those remaining who want to go out on a high, but want to be promoted on a high, but you've won it psychologically? That's in your head, isn't it?
What I kept trying to do was get up previous records. So I kept banging the drum about when Craig Wanderers won that league, and the records they held, both goals scored, goals conceded, the amount of wins. And I was basically trying to grab anything like that to sort of say to the lads, like, the legacy, if we're going to win this league, we're going to go out all guns blazing and put our stamp on it, that Hastings was probably the best team that ever won that division for the last decade or whatever. But that's how I tried to get players focused on, was those sort of achievements. And I'm pretty sure we did. I think we went up with a couple of records intact. So it was pleasing. But you are right. Obviously, everyone loves a fairy tale. Everyone would have loved either the Hail Teeth game or you win it on the last day of the season. But it's crazy when I look back when I first took over at the club, and if someone said to me you would have won the league by that margin, I would have walked away from them. I just would have thought that was absolute crazy, guys. So it was unbelievable, really.
Yeah, I mean, Faversham was great playing away and winning it there, and everyone on the pitch, and including Kev doing donuts around the circle.
Yeah. He improved the pitch, actually.
A roller on it. Yeah. But no, it was good. It was good. Good memories. But I just think I was telling my missus I was out every Saturday for like the last 6 weeks of the season. But kept coming home early. She's like, "What are you doing home?" I was like, another week, darling, another week. So it's good to finally get over the line, and better places in Faversham in the UK, is there? So,
was VCD Kenny Pogue scoring with his lob? Was that the VCD game?
Yeah.
Came on as a sub, and
he don't like to talk about that.
Does he not?
No, Kenny does not like to talk about that lob.
Hardly mentioned it, is he?
Yeah.
Well, he still thinks he was offside, doesn't
he? He still thinks he's on the bench for us every week.
No, I love him, man. Love him. Yeah, it was great to see him back actually recently. It was nice to see him at the game. Lovely bloke.
Hero. Yeah, he's good. Yeah. Blinder.
Yeah, and then obviously the last game of the season we lost, but we were kind of already in party mode, weren't we, really, Gary?
Yeah, I think a few of the players were already in Portugal. It was, once again, it's not an enjoyable game to manage, really, because that is a game whereby you can talk about records, you ain't really going to get the players' focus. It was gone, it was won, and it was done. And I think even myself included, I wanted to have a bit of time out and get away on holiday. And the least said about that game, the better. I think that was actually, that was the thing that annoyed me, actually. Their manager's slightly, he's sort of Pep Guardiola. He's a tactical genius, their manager.
Hang on, we've already got a Pep Guardiola.
No. He's good. The Seven Oaks manager, he's unbelievable. And but I think we was passing a pound coin around on the pitch for a drinking game, and I was trying to sort of get some information onto the lads' pitch. And I think Kenny Pogue got subbed that day, come off and dropped the pound coin, and I didn't actually even spot it. So I think that they were taking the piss out of me that day, Chris. But good memories, and memories that will last a lifetime for me. Whatever happens in my life from now on in, it's I'll always talk about them times fondly.
Didn't Norrie score in front of his mum on that day, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
It got kicked at him, didn't it? I mean,
it's beautiful strike.
Him out.
So, season over. There's no peace for the wicked. You've obviously got to look at the squad, look at who you're going to part ways with, who you're going to bring in. I mean, what was your mental processes? Probably, obviously, begun before the end of the season, but what was your mindset like in terms of what you're bringing in, what you're keeping?
Yeah, it was. and it's funny. It's still probably for at the moment. You know, I wanted to get pace in the team. I wanted to have Dave Martin going, Kenny Poe going, and we had to try and get players in to replace them. And we tried to in the guys we brought in, Kai, Jill. If I'm honest with you again, Chris, it didn't work out.